Hey everybody, and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where we talk all things Invincible, created by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. I am one of your hosts today, Ryan, and I'm joined by TJ.
Oh, hello. I'm first today. It's TJ.
And Bill.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going, guys?
Well, stuff and things and stuff. What is this reboot thing that we've been seeing online so much? We've been seeing the Invincible podcast reboot,
we wanted to. This was just kind of a fun, cheeky way of having a episode in which we announce some changes and talk a bit about what's coming to the podcast in the future. We are a show, after all, that we want to dive into all things Invincible, from the animated series show to the comic book series to the tie-ins, everything else in between. And we've got some exciting things coming up. 2013. Oh my God. 2023 is looking to be very exciting with the Invincible stuff, with the 20th anniversary and everything. And we wanted to kind of start building up the hype and looking forward to what's to come. So we've got more to talk about, but we're not going to talk about it alone. We've got an announcement to make. We are welcoming a fourth member of the podcast.
This is one of a few little fun announcements, but I think this is the big one. I think this is it's gonna. I mean, it's big for us, anyways.
Yeah,
so
of course.
It's the one that I think we're most excited about.
It's not. You know what? To add the little Bill thing that you're talking about, TJ, before the podcast started. It's not a decision we made lightly either. You know what I mean? Like we have been the three of us, the trio, for a while. So the fact that this person is joining us to be a regular part of the Invincible podcast is a big deal.
It is, but also at the same time, it was so much of a no-brainer because, as you all know, Wyatt Layne, you have been a part of this show for so long, whether it was the music of the show, the joining us on multiple episodes, and then most recently joining us for ChromaCast, in which we talked all about another comic book that we just absolutely fell in love with.
Yay, Wyatt Layne! It's Wyatt Layne! It's Wyatt Layne! He's the fourth chair. Welcome,
hey guys.
Wyatt Layne.
Welcome, man. So like we said, we've done. I don't know. You've been on the Invincible podcast a couple times. We've done special videos with you. We've hung out multiple times doing various things, making content. And every time we've gotten a chance to do something in person or online through video, it's always made, I feel like, our content, our videos, all the better. So I think this is only going to improve our show, our conversations, and I think everybody's going to really, benefit.
So you're only here for your musical and editing abilities.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to go off into the piano and just play stuff while you guys are talking. No, thank you guys so
live
much.
Background.
I mentioned this when you guys first talked to me about it, but I very much appreciate it. Obviously, we all connected because I was just a fan of Invincible and found the podcast and was excited to write in and talk to people about Invincible. And the fact that, you know, we've become friends since then and that you guys want me to be a part of it. Like Bill said, you guys have, you know, very much a dynamic of your trio that your fans really enjoy and, you know, have come to expect. So it meant a lot. I know that it is like a big decision to add somebody into the podcast. So I take it as a very big honor. So thank you guys.
Of course.
I think we all knew in Chicago when after we met you for the first time and hung out in person, how then when you left, we were all kind of like, that wasn't weird. He's not a weird guy. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. I honestly, I felt the same way. It was one of those things like going back home and talking to Nicole about it. My wife, I was just like, it was so fun. I was worried that, you know, is it going to be a little awkward because we had never really met in person because I'm, of course, if people didn't know, out here in California while you guys are in New York. So I had the same kind of you know, a little bit nervousness, but yeah, it was just it was very much exactly how I expected of just hanging out with some friends. So I'm excited to get to continue that onto the podcast where we get to kind of deep dive into Invincible.
So we do have some other things that to announce that we will get to, but before we get to those things, with Wyatt being you know, the new permanent fourth chair, you've been on what, 2 or 3 episodes before. You did Invincible Trivia 2 with us.
Yeah.
But
there was a fan spotlight episode. You also talked to us before we recorded in person, actually, before the Chicago trip last year, when we talked all about the Skybound X25, the Battle Beast issue.
But for those that are listening and seeing you for the first time, maybe didn't see those previous episodes, remind us about how you got into Invincible and, why you fell in love with it.
Yeah. So I remember, I remember reading like superhero comics as an adult around the time that like the MCU started kicking off with Iron Man and everything. And I was just really interested, but I remember also quickly getting like really burnt out with Marvel and DC comics just because of how often the writer would change and the artist would change and it just would feel like a different book. And so just kind of stopped reading superhero comics for a while. And then eventually, I think when The Walking Dead was coming out, the show was coming out, found out about that being a comic, binged through like the first compendium of that like super quickly and fell in love with that comic.
Before you watched the show or after you started watching the show?
I want to say that it was like while season 1 was airing. I want to say that it was like as season 1 happened. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You watched the show first.
Yeah, I want to say it was like maybe even just the premiere, and I was like, "This is great," and it's based on a comic. Like, I'm gonna go look that up before next week, and then probably by episode 2 coming out, I was like halfway through the compendium or whatever. Nice. But loved that, and started to like then explore more like image books and looked for stuff that was not necessarily superhero comics because I just felt like the Marvel and DC stuff wasn't really clicking with me as much. And saw, that Kirkman had done another superhero book and done Invincible, but for a long time was just like, I don't know, it definitely looks is it going to be really campy? It's these very bright colors. It's the goggles. Mm-hmm. It's all this, going from reading The Walking Dead, which feels very, very serious and adult. I just kind of like wasn't sure what to make of Invincible. And then eventually like decided to give it a try. Did the same thing where I just kind of became instantly obsessed with it. My wife, Nicole, ended up buying me the compendium and like all of the trades that were available at the time, which was up to issue 88. And because I remember binging through all of them that I could and then ending with issue 88, which of course is where Mark gets the Scourge virus in his face and loses his powers. And then I had to wait like a month and a half with that cliffhanger after binging all of it. And I was just like, what do I do with myself now? So yeah, that was the initial read of it. And then, it was a lot of, you guys know, and the fans who are listening before the show came out know that like back then there was nothing on the internet about Invincible. It was like, especially once Walking Dead took off, it felt like Kirkman's name was everywhere, but it was all Walking Dead stuff. And it was everywhere. And so I remember just kind of like looking for stuff online to see if there was Invincible merch, if there was anything, and eventually like found you guys and started writing into the podcast and was just excited that like I had someone else that I could talk to about this book who had read it and was excited about it.
And now you'll be doing nothing but talking about it with us.
Get ready.
And I do it already. So
when that show comes
it's just going to be recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
During season 1, it was just chaos. So get ready for that. But it was
I can't wait for that though. That is, and that you saying that is so great because that is the reason we started the show. We've said it before. We've said it from the beginning. We just wanted to make and encourage a community of folks that really dug this comic, and especially when it was this little known thing that wasn't as talked about, and just kind of build that community and have a show for people to listen to and have that feeling of getting to discuss this thing. It's crazy that like you're while you were reading issue 88 and dreading month to month, so were we. We were reading at the same time. We just didn't know each other at the same time. Imagine those conversations we could have had month to month. Yeah. And, hopefully we'll get to recapture some of that on this show.
Yeah.
Especially with all the stuff coming up this year.
And you know what? Who knows, listeners? Maybe TJ will quit the podcast in a couple of years and you could be our new third chair.
Am I 3?
I like how
I was 1.
I like that TJ's the third chair.
TJ's like, I'm at least number 2.
Is that the Peter 1 kind of thing?
But no, let's talk a bit more about we've got what we're talking about Wyatt and changes and things to come and everything like that. Let's talk a bit more about things we're looking forward to later in 2023, what we want to see change with this podcast, where we're going, the things that we want to add and shake it up a bit. Because that's kind of what this episode is about. This is, kind of what is that called? Like a town hall, kind of fireside chat type thing, where we just want to talk a bit about, the things that, are changing and tweaking a little bit when it comes to the show. Yeah. One of them being that we are, and I know we've been saying this, but we are very excited to be doing more video types and more, things like regarding Invincible. And, that brings us to having a TikTok and doing YouTube shorts and being able to do smaller format videos. We've always kind of prided ourselves on doing these longer format podcast episodes or, videos where it's us chatting for a good amount of time and a nice big chunk where you can sit back or listen to it on a car ride or something. But, there's other types of content out there, and we think it'd be fun to start making some smaller things because there are things out there that make sense for a smaller format. We've already started experimenting a little bit with that. And in fact, we've had Wyatt on the, not on the show, but we've been hanging out with Wyatt once a week for the last month or so doing podcast stuff. So we've actually been really preparing for this stuff, talking about how we're going to be rolling out different things, different video ideas. We really want to be doing more shorts like this, like where we could talk about, some of TJ's art collection or some really cool lesser known Invincible merchandise or just breakouts from these episodes or different videos that we do. And so we're going to be doing that. So
I will say too, first of all, the TikTok is live now, right? You can go over there, follow us, do it now. Go over to TikTok, follow us over there. The reels that Ryan's talking about too on YouTube, those are going to be happening as well. I think we already have a few things in mind, like Ryan already mentioned. So those are going to be coming out too. So again, we're going to talk about a few more things that we're going to be doing in more shows and things like that. First thing you want to do after you join our TikTok or follow our TikTok is hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. We're not just trying to get subscribers. We want, because we're doing more videos, every time we drop a video, you'll get a notification. We may not be doing it the first Friday of every month anymore. We're gonna be trying to do more, right? So anytime that we release a video, if you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, you'll get a notification, or it'll be right there at the top of your library when you open up YouTube or your reels or whatever it is that we post. So hit that subscribe button, brah.
Yeah, and that brings us a bit to schedule. Like we've always done. I mean, can't say always, but for the last several years, we were once a month. We were releasing on the first Friday of every month. And that was kind of our whole thing, that we really aimed for doing that first Friday of every month window. And that helped us, it helped you, so that everybody knows like when to kind of expect this thing. It kept us on schedule, that we're always putting out something. It gets tough at times, and we had to go down to once a month because, there was a while there where wasn't as much Invincible content to talk about. We did the reread, we did, the new reader. We've done all these kind of things, character spotlights and co-creators catalogs and all these different things to kind of have more stuff to talk about. But back in the day, we were able to do the bi-weekly thing. We're expecting it to be a bit busier. We're expecting to do more. And so we are going to be doing more episodes. I mean, we're not setting in stone that, we're definitely bi-weekly right now, but it's most likely going to happen where we'll be bi-weekly for a bit, at least at some point later this year. It looks, go ahead, TJ.
I think for now we are committing to, again, things could change in the future, but I think for now we're committing to at least 2 large pieces of content a month starting now, right?
Yeah.
We have some things coming, and more than just like, I'm not counting like a reel or a TikTok video as content. I'm talking about something, larger, like an episode or something similar, twice a month going forward until the foreseeable future.
Yeah. We might as well tease it off now, TJ. You've had a video in mind that you've been wanting to do since Oblivion Song podcast.
For so long.
This is something that you were always passionate about. You've been wanting to do since Oblivion Song podcast, at least 2 years now. And so you finally got it. So tell us a bit about this.
It literally right before COVID hit, I've been wanting to do the Hot Ones challenge, and we talked about doing it for Oblivion Song, but then COVID hit and we're like, maybe we shouldn't all be in one room like sweating it out and like coughing and like struggling, so we didn't do it.
You went through basically the things that the people who run Hot Ones did, where they're like, this is actually really probably not that healthy.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, they had to go via Zoom and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been a huge fan of the YouTube series Hot Ones, where Sean Evans, I think his name is, will interview big name celebrities, and then they eat 10 wings, and each wing has a different level of hot sauce on it, and it starts with like the least spicy, and it goes to the most like deadliest hot sauce there is. And Bill and I did it because Ryan said fuck no, as I say in the episode, and Wyatt,
and I'm in California. I can't, I couldn't be there, so
But Wyatt definitely supported and helped out. Wyatt and I actually were the ones that created the talking points, we'll call it. So after they take a bite of the wing, they have to do some talking points that we gave them. Not all Invincible related, but about half or so are Invincible related, for them to struggle through while they struggle through the wings themselves.
So it was. Go ahead, Bill.
No, I was just gonna say it is as funny as you would imagine it to be.
I hope so. I hope people
as bad
enjoy
as it gets. Yeah. Oh man, I mean, we were in it, so I don't think that we thought it was as funny. But like, I've showed people that have seen Invincible stuff and read stuff and not, and both laugh equally as hard. So you guys are in for a treat when it releases. It's going to be a good one.
And honestly, I can say this. It is genuine. We were seriously not like trying.
Oh, you can tell.
No, it comes across.
Oh yeah, you can tell.
It comes
was
across.
All I'll say is, and I want you to watch the episode. We had a good time, but we also had a rough time. It was rough. It was definitely tough. There were moments where we were getting a little lightheaded and a little nervous there, but we got through it. So check it out. And I think we're planning to release this. We'll cut it out in case I'm wrong here, but I think we're planning to release this on June 16th.
It should be this month. It should be this month. That's going to be our second video for this month.
June 16th.
Yeah. Teacher's grade. But we'll and again, whether it's TikTok or YouTube Shorts and everything, we'll be communicating about it and teasing it and putting out stuff for it. Yeah. And that's that. And then we'll be back in July, right? Oh my God, it's gonna be July. Because we've got Void Rivals coming up. And so that was a big question that we got asked several times. Are we doing a Void Rivals podcast? And we talked about it because we did Oblivion Song. And then we did ChromaCast with Wyatt. And then we're like, hey, Chroma's over. Let's do Void Rivals. And then you know what? We don't know what Void Rivals is. We don't know what that's gonna be like.
Yeah.
We do Invincible podcast. Invincible's got a big year coming up. Do we really want to start another show? And ultimately we decided let's double down on what we're doing. We're going to be going all in on Invincible podcast, and we're going to be doing what we've always done, which is talk about things that we love, and especially when they're even tangentially related, even when they're somewhat related to Invincible. And right now, Robert Kirkman, it's another Robert Kirkman book. We're going to be talking about it. So unless something changes,
and Lorenzo,
and who we also love, of course. So unless something major changes, it looks like next episode is going to be our review of Void Rivals. So look forward to that as well. But we'll be going all out for that one.
So another thing that I'll add to that too is you got a little homework we want from you. You can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. These are all things that are coming out that we came up with. We want to know your ideas and what you want to see from the Invincible podcast, because we do want to do more content, right? And these are just the things that we came up with. But you as the listeners, like we want to hear from you and what you want from us in quick little reels or TikToks or bigger episodes that we can do that could become like series, or even if it's like a one-time episode. These are the things that we want to hear from you. So if you have any cool ideas, we want to know about it. Email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com.
And we have fun ideas for like different types of videos and doing fun things. And those are always great. They take a little bit more time, but we've been getting together and meeting online and chatting about the podcast every week for the last month. If we have enough stuff to talk about, if you want to hear something, if you have a good idea, like we'll record it. We'll do more episodes. We'll go bi-weekly. We'll go more than bi-weekly. If there's stuff to talk about it, if there's things that are worthwhile. From the very beginning, we didn't want to release episodes that weren't worth discussing and didn't have anything worth sharing. So let us know. And like TJ said, if you've got some ideas or if there's things that you think that would be really great for us to talk about, we want to hear it.
It's so funny too, because we've been doing this for 7 years, and every time like we see certain people, like we see like Ryan Ottley, he's like, you guys are still going, man. You guys are going strong. And it's like, yeah. And he's like, what do you guys like? He listens occasionally. I know he's on here a couple times occasionally, but when we see him, he's like, what do you guys even talk about anymore? Like, it's been so long. But hey, you know what? We're gonna do some bi-weekly
challenge accepted. You thought it was hard monthly? Fuck that.
We're adding a fourth chair, and we're doubling down and doing more content. So we're just gonna keep it going. I mean,
I feel like this is what Blockbuster did before they went bankrupt.
Just double down on everything.
I worked at Blockbuster in their like final like 2 year in that window. And it was rough, man. That was when they were really pushing the DVD rentals like Netflix, because through the mail, it was just online DVD rentals and get your DVDs shipped to you.
I saw a tweet that I'm pretty sure it was a fake tweet, or it was like a fan account that was Blockbuster tweeting at Netflix because they're cracking down on the whole sharing passwords.
Oh, yeah.
And Blockbuster was just like, we don't care if you share movies with your friends. Like,
as long as you get them back.
I'd love for Blockbuster to come back and somehow take over Netflix. That would be great.
It would be, yeah. So we've also got another really exciting segment for the podcast. So that's not all. Every episode of the podcast, other than like, fun videos like hot ones and stuff like that, every actual episode of the podcast is going to have a special segment that I'm very, very excited about. And I know some people are really, really looking forward to. And you might have an idea of what that's going to be, but we're going to get to that later in the episode. We got to go over the Invincible related news first. So we're going to jump into the Invincible related news right now. One thing that actually was brought up that I should have brought up last episode, but I never did. I sent you guys a video of Steven Yeun and the actress from Beef, and I can't remember her name.
Ali Wong, I think.
Ali Wong, thank you.
Yes.
Doing a interview for Variety, I believe it was. I'll have the video playing during this, so you guys can go check it out. What's up?
Did we all watch Beef?
Yeah, so I was gonna put a pin in this and talk about Beef for a minute. Can we talk about Beef for a minute?
There's the pin. Oh, are we taking it out?
Okay, yeah. All right. No. All right. I'm gonna finish this thought.
You finish
in that interview, Steven Yeun was asked about the voice for Invincible, and he said that, yep, I've changed it a bit. I try and make him act, get a little bit older as the season goes on, because we've already finished recording for seasons 2 and 3, and blah 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 blah. And it was like,
quite possibly the biggest like fucking drop, and
this was
one
like
even fucking saw it, like crazy.
Yep.
I got to give a shout out to because they pointed it out to us on Twitter. It was Sammy. I'm pretty sure Sammy sent it to me.
Nice.
Yep. So shout out to you, Sammy, and thank you for that.
I will say, in my January predictions for 2023, I predicted that season 3 would be released within 6 months of the season finale of season 2. And y'all laughed at me. Y'all laughed.
I'm still laughing from there.
Let's just be grateful that they finished that shit before the writer's strike.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I know we're bouncing around a bit here, but like that doesn't like rewrites, like it still doesn't mean we're in the clear.
Yeah.
Like that's and again, I say we're in the clear, like pay the fucking writers, like hopefully it doesn't negatively impact the show, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But especially the writers of Invincible, fucking pay them.
Yeah. And it could end up affecting the show, just because I think part of the nice thing about them getting renewed for seasons 2 and 3 is that the hope that is if season 2 is coming out, it's doing well, they'll be like, okay, start writing season 4.
They need to be writing season 4.
Yeah, they need that lead time for animation, so it could end up affecting it. So yeah, pay the writers.
That's right. So I'm gonna tack on to this because we're talking about how season 2 and 3 voice acting is done. There was a tweet out from Tonika Pantoja. I'm sorry for butchering the name. They're a story artist and 2D animator working on Invincible. They tweeted out about ending work on season 2 and 3. I've also seen from other animators that were working on the show that they are wrapping on their work. Again, we've talked at length. We've talked with storyboard artists on this show. We've interviewed them. We've talked about this. we are ignorant to this industry, very much so, and like don't understand. We know that there's a lot of work, a lot of work that goes into this. A lot of the work is done overseas. There's still revisionists still doing, there's still a lot of work being done. But this is just cool that there's a step being done on both season 2 and 3. So like storyboarding is done on 2 and 3. You know what I mean? Like that means like the wheels are turning, the gears are turning, like that. Like these are really in motion and things. And it's just neat seeing that like, hey, this is like a milestone on the board of like this is happening. Like, and it's getting closer and closer.
To your point, Ryan, we know firsthand now that there's stuff of Invincible that was storyboarded, animated, and then they were like, ugh, nope. We gotta start over. Yep. So just because someone has done storyboarding doesn't mean that theirs is going to be finalized. Which brings in the whole rewrite.
Which what I'm saying is a lot of the animators are done. So I think they finished a big chunk, a major phase of that process. So which is a great sign that things are moving in the right direction. If we don't get these kind of things, then all of a sudden it's like, where is this thing just stagnant? Is it just not moving? Like I don't follow Arcane that close, but it's like I'm itching for like season 2 stuff. Like are their animators still working? Like are they still storyboard? Are they still writing it? Like having these moments every now and then to be like, oh yeah, they finished that. They finished the voice acting. Like if I heard that Arcane finished voice acting for season 2, I'd be like, oh shit, this is happening. So having these moments every now and then is just reassuring, and it's also really cool just to see that this stuff is happening. Like they finished the voice acting for season 3. Does that mean like certain characters that we don't even know that are in it have already recorded their lines?
Yeah, that's what it means.
That's nuts.
So much.
Yeah,
there's so much done.
Yeah,
there's so much. All right, so that's exciting, but we mentioned beef, guys. We haven't talked about beef. Sorry, going roll call here. Everybody watched it?
Yep.
Bill, did you watch it?
I watched the first episode.
Of course you did.
How long ago did you watch episode 1?
Oh my God, guys,
Bill.
Weeks ago.
You watched the first 1 or 2 episodes of such good shows, and then you just stop. It's heartbreaking, man.
You know what? I finished from. I feel
like
like
the first 2 episodes of that, I should be just good, right? I should be good.
Yeah, totally. I understand it. The first episode of Beef, though, like, is that what the show is?
Oh, it evolves.
Yeah,
an insane amount.
And that's
goes
my
to crazy
problem.
places.
That's my problem. Like, I didn't know what it was.
But the first episode was great.
The first episode was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole show.
And honestly, you deserve to watch the rest of it, if only for seeing Steven Yeun's performance throughout it. Like it's been a while since I've seen him in something live action. I know he's done a few things that he's gotten some acclaim for, but it's been a while since I've seen him in like a lead role like this. And I was even seeing him in Walking Dead and being a fan of that show and everything, this was really like seeing him on another level. And just like it was one of those things of like, man, we got a good one. You know what I mean? Like we got a good one for Invincible. It's great.
Totally. It was such a good show. And the escalation of this show, Bill, like, and I think I was tweeting Wyatt while I was watching it. It's like every episode ends and you're like, how does this get crazier and crazier every episode in a way that it sneaks up on you? It's like, okay, I see these pieces moving, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, how did we just get here? How did we get to this point? The show is incredible, and Steven Yeun absolutely kills it.
It escalates to the point where the penultimate episode, the episode before the finale, ended, and I'm like, that wasn't the finale? There's another episode?
Yeah.
And then the finale was just like, what the, like, completely different and so wildly different than any other episode of. It was just, it's awesome. I cannot wait for
I still haven't seen Minari. I want to, but I've always known that, like, I've always known that Steven Yeun is a good actor, really great. Like, watching this show, I was like, oh, he is another level. Like he really has that, like, that thing, and he's great. So yeah, that's very cool. So check out Beef, everybody.
Yeah.
Including you, Bill.
Oh, real.
I'll do it.
I have a quick question.
Go
while
for
we're
it.
in between topics. I meant to ask it back when we were talking about Wyatt. But Wyatt said that his first issue after he caught up was 88. Ryan, I know yours was 48. Mine was 41. Bill, do you remember yours? It had to have been 50-ish, right?
Yeah, it was in the 50s. I think it was like it may have been 50. Because I can actually go back to my collection. I'm pretty sure the first actual issue I had. What's 48?
48 is the cover with Tether Tyrant and Mag Maniac.
I might have that one too. It's around there.
You were probably
might have been
it was
reading it in tandem with Ryan.
Yeah, it's around there.
Okay, I was just curious. So.
Next up, small thing, but BCW Comic Supplies is doing a short box Invincible themed one. I just sent you guys a picture in case you missed it. This is pretty cool though. You can order it online or ask your comic shop for it. I think they'll be able to get it for you. They say that it's wrapped with the licensed artwork from the show. It looks like. Yep, it's all from the show. Yeah. And looks pretty sweet. I mean, it's a short box. It's that looks like an interesting thing, especially to keep all of your Invincible related stuff.
Yeah, that is sick. Yeah, that's
Isn't
cool.
that pretty neat?
Yeah,
I love the Invincible title on the lid.
Yeah.
No way I would be able to fit it in there. I have too many. But I would get a few. I think I actually want to get one for just like all the random merch stuff that I have though. Like I have some like
not a bad idea.
Those kind of things that I think it would fit really well in there. So just my Invincible stuff box. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what I'm going to go with because they're not expensive either. So
yeah.
Then the last one is a bit of a big one. Y'all might have seen a leak going around. What? So the rumor is I don't have it pulled up. I'm just going by memory here, which I guess is poignant because it is a rumor and a leak and everything apparent that Omni-Man is going to be in Mortal Kombat along with Peacemaker. I always want to say Pacemaker. Peacemaker and
Homelander.
Yeah. So what? First, I want to hear what you guys think of. Go ahead, TJ.
Homelander and Peacemaker were confirmed, right? Were they confirmed or are they rumors too?
No, I think they're rumors. I want to say this all started because there was like an Amazon listing for like DLC or pre-order bonus that was up for a tiny bit and then got pulled down that listed those three characters.
I think it listed playable characters. I don't even think it listed DLC. I think it listed playable characters, meaning that
but the DLC is usually collaborations. They're usually not main characters in the game.
Previous ones was like Terminator, and they did like Ninja Turtles
Rambo
and stuff like that. And
so those ones were all DLC. Terminator, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What's your guys' history with Mortal Kombat? Does this excite you if it's real? Again, take this with a grain of salt. There have been these kind of leaks before that aren't real. Max Burkholder was announced for season 1 of Invincible playing Oliver. And people still write in saying, "Oh, did you see that? Oliver was cast for season 2," and it's like that's just a rollover from season 1. Dropkick and Fightmaster were in IMDb for season 1, and I think it's still up on IMDb that Dropkick and Fightmaster are in season 1 of Invincible. Like things that can be out there that might not be real, but just take it with a grain of salt. But if that's real, we're definitely going to be talking about it if it's real later. But right now, initial impressions.
If it's real, it will be the first Mortal Kombat game that I will ever buy. I do not play them. I hate fighting games. I hate how slow paced and sideways they move.
It has evolved.
Hate it. If you're hitting right and you're still kind of like walking slowly that way,
it's still that kind of thing. It's better, but it is still a tech, like you're
but I'm excited if it's real again. I'm excited to see like what the voice acting is going to be like. Is it going to be J.K. Simmons? Is it going to be
question? Do they do the show or the comic?
Voice
acting, you know what I mean?
In the comic.
No, the art style and everything. Like, are they taking inspiration from the show or the comic?
That's what I was going to say is part of what excites me the most is Mortal Kombat, and even what we've seen from the trailer of the new Mortal Kombat, it's typically pretty photorealistic. And like we've seen some fan 3D renders of Invincible characters, but we've never had anything official of the characters that look like real humans, right? Like it's either been the comic or it's been the animated series. So I'm really just kind of interested to see if that ends up being true, what does the character model look like? You know what I mean? Like, what is the detail on the suit going to look like? What is his face, like, structure and everything going to look like? I'm really curious to see just kind of how he looks and feels in a more, like, photorealistic style.
I haven't played all of the Mortal Kombat games, but I've played a very good portion of them. Like, Ryan, you and I
we played a lot
constantly.
Armageddon, is that one that you played all the time?
Armageddon
is.
I remember you were always playing that fucking game.
Deception was amazing. Was and what was the one, Ryan, that you and I played? It was actually like there was Kung Lao and
Shaolin Monks.
Yeah, dude, that was sick too. But that was like a 2-player game and actually had like
it was a very different.
Very cool, very different. But I think this is a cool way, like, to get Omni-Man in a game. It's something that we've been saying is the most obvious thing that they need to do is get Invincible characters in a fighting style game like this, and to have Homelander in it too. If that is the also
other thing.
True,
it's like, man, that makes it feel like a little more legit. The fact that they have these 2 Amazon account shows that would make sense. It's like going to one well for both things. The DC Peacemaker one feels like it muddies it a little bit more because it's like, okay, so you're gonna have a DC thing and an Image thing, and it hasn't, like, I know that was like Soul Calibur or something that had like Spawn, and I mean obviously we've got things like Joker, and I want to say in Mortal Kombat 11 you've got Injustice when it comes to, or even Mortal Kombat versus DC. Like I can picture superheroes in Mortal Kombat, but man, seeing that new trailer, and I think we get gameplay like really soon. I want to say like within the next week or 2.
I think they announced when the next trailer's coming out.
So we'll see gameplay soon to really get an idea of what the visuals are going to look like. But you're right, Wyatt. Like, what is Omni-Man going to look like photoreal when he gets fatalities performed on him? You know what I mean? Like, Omni-Man's head's going to be crushed in. You know, like, this is going to be taking this character that we know so well to a whole nother realm. No pun intended.
My gosh.
Do we want to go? I think you're going to ask the same question, TJ. What are Omni-Man's fatalities? Because
exactly
I'm going to say I think one of them is definitely a subway car. That
subway car?
He grabs their head, he does this, and a subway comes through the side. Like, that just works
does he take
in a 2D
them somewhere?
space. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe he goes through the floor and then holds them in a subway. Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him like grab him by the back of the head and then like squashing somebody's head.
Yeah.
Like he did.
What about what about worlds? What about levels? So do you think like a destroyed Viltrum?
Oh my God! If we get,
we haven't even think about that. We didn't even think about that.
Well, we did see Viltrum for like a second.
I gotta look at.
It wasn't prominent enough. Maybe the team layer.
I gotta get a. I gotta look back at Mortal Kombat 11 to see if the DLC gets levels to match.
Yeah.
Or costumes, because like if they're going off the comic accurate version, we can get a Viltrum costume, like the Viltrum costume. We can get a Grand Regent costume. We can get a bloodied version.
What if the one level is the Guardian's lair, and they're all dead in the background?
There's
fucking.
But then they would need models for all those characters.
I know. I was just gonna say, I'm already excited about just an Omni-Man model.
They create models and avatars and all these other levels and backdrops. Like if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. So do you think when they release the gameplay trailer that it's like the last little bit would they show DLC characters?
Usually when pre-orders go up, they'll say pre-order now to get. Well, they already do with Shao Kahn King.
With one of the characters.
Sometimes they announce it. They don't always announce them all though. That's the problem. Like Omni-Man could be the third DLC pack and not get announced till Christmas.
Yeah.
If that's the case, again,
if it's true, and it's Omni-Man is going to be in the game, what are the chances that you think that it is only Omni-Man and maybe not an Invincible too?
Jesus.
Would they just release Omni-Man and not the title character?
I would say yes, only because of how much you see the like Omni-Man versus Homelander stuff memed, and it feels like that's almost them, especially knowing that if it's true that it would be the two of them and Peacemaker, but the fact that they're doing Homelander and Omni-Man feels like they want to cash in on that type of
craziness.
Yeah, on that kind of fervor.
Even Peacemaker, they're the vigilante heroes. They're the anti-heroes. I mean, kind of characters. Oh, that kind of makes sense.
It's true. Fortnite next.
By the way, Viltrumite punch, and then maybe even doing the thing where like ripping them in half. Yeah, that would be a finisher.
That'd be good.
Yeah. We will be sure to talk way more about this.
What if like Ragnars are in it? What if he uses a fucking Ragnar?
We're not there.
I think it's into space.
It's going to be.
Space Racer zooms by and he grabs him and grabs his gun and fucking guys.
It's going to be animated series.
It's going to be
animated
related.
series.
Yeah.
It's not going to be comic related.
I don't care.
I think so.
I'm gonna create my own fan fiction. Mortal Kombat.
Bill's gonna get into modding, and he's gonna mod the game just to add like dinosaurs in the background.
I need to start playing.
This
I need to
entire
start playing
conversation
11 to get good at it. If this is true.
This entire conversation could be for nothing.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's happening.
No, because even if it isn't happening, it will happen because we talked about it. Because everything that we talk about eventually happens. Christmas sweater.
It's true.
Yeah.
We do have an email that I want to bring up. So this is from Barry S. Barry says, just wanted to say that you guys are awesome and you're making really interesting and thoughtful podcast. Thank you. Had a question to put up for a challenge for the video. If you guys were to be the Kevin Feige of the Skybound cinematic universe, what would your rollout be? Just because Marvel is everywhere now, it would be cool to see your versions of it. Anyway, keep up the good work, dudes. Barry.
May I? May I?
You may.
Oh, thank you. I feel like if I were the Kevin Feige of the Invincible cinematic universe,
So are we saying Invincible cinematic universe, not Skybound across all titles? We just mean
I would say Invincible.
I'd say yeah.
Okay. So that's part of this. That's part of the question, right? So let's say Skybound. If I'm Kevin Feige, I am building an Invincible universe first. All the Oblivion song stuff maybe comes later, but I'm going to start with Invincible. Obviously, I'm fucking Invincible podcast. But I'm going to take advantage of making those videos, take advantage of doing it as the comic timeline plays out. So in the time where, Wolfman would come in, that's when the Wolfman movie would come out, or TV show, or like side thing would come out, right? It would start with Invincible, the first Invincible movie, maybe Invincible 2, depending on where Invincible 1 ends, and then Wolfman, and then, or maybe we do a tech jacket in between 1 and 2, things like that, and it would just follow the storyline. Wolfman 2 would come out like after the Invincible War, and then there would be a team up in you know what I mean, like. Just follow the timeline.
Committed.
I think if you
like that you're committed to feature film version of this, TJ.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I was thinking more like current MCU, where it's like, all right, well then you've got the Tech Jacket movie, which will feed into the Invincible ongoing series, because Tech Jacket would just be one short like that fits in. Wolfman would be like 1 or 2 seasons that fits into the ongoing like kind of thing, just like the like shows that on Disney Plus type thing.
Yeah, so many opportunities.
And man, once you introduce Angstrom Levy, God, I gotta get used to it.
That's how I always saw it unfurl anyways. Like even if you look at like the Amazon Prime show, like they come out with an episode and then Wolfman is in it, and then it's Invincible presents a Wolfman 1.5 hour long animated movie. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want it. They should fucking do that.
I think what we're all saying here is that we just want Wolfman. Just give us Wolfman. Just give us. That's what I want. I don't care if it's TV show, movie.
Wolfman is so criminally underrated. Like
if I were
criminally,
if I were in this position and I were the Kevin Feige in this position, maybe this is like a cheating the answer sort of, but I honestly wouldn't even really lean into live action stuff. I would do everything you guys are talking about, but just around the show and be
what's happening now.
We are going to double down on animation. And even if it's not necessarily when certain characters come in, I would basically just like make a statement to other like creative, directors and whatever, and just be like, hey, if you're really passionate about Tech Jacket, about this character, and you want to do even an 1.5 hour long animated, feature that's going to be part of the Invincible universe, and we'll find ways to like weave it into the show. Mm-hmm. Like I think I would just double down on animation, even though I know live action stuff gets, more attention or more eyes. I think they're having such success with the show, and it's so well done and so faithful to what the comic is, that just keep doing that, but explore other genres with the other characters that you could introduce, and then you could have them weave in and out of future seasons of the show if you wanted to.
Yeah. My only reservation with all that stuff is the licensing stuff that like as small as a character as Science Dog, which isn't really a character, was turned into Seance Dog. And we might not get Wolfman. We might not get Tech Jacket. We might not get like.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody online about this recently. I think things were different pre-season 1 of Invincible when it comes to licensing the other characters. I think with the success of Invincible, and again, talking on my ass, no idea, don't know, I have no clue. But man, I wonder if, the conversation has changed between Amazon wanting, well, yeah, we'll take that character, but like we're not going to pay you much for it. And now it be something along the lines of like, oh no, you want these characters? This is what they cost, or this is what the deal is. Because the deal can change now if there's, if Skybound and Kirkman have more, in their on their side with the success of the show. So it makes you wonder whether or not they will be incorporating other shows or other characters. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, though. One bit of news that I forgot to mention, though, was Ryan Ottley revealed the cover for his variant for the Compendium 2. Damn, right?
So good.
Really awesome. Conquest and Adam Eve. And if you're hearing this, his comp's already sold out. Be on his mailing list. Go to his store, RyanOttley.com or Ryan Ottley store. You'll find it. Get on his mailing list. He does drop very few of these kind of limited edition hardcovers. TJ, you got the first one. Did you get the second one?
Yep. Not yet.
Ryan Ottley has
sold out
much money.
Ryan Ottley's comp sold out.
Oh, his comps did.
He's so rich. He's so rich. He has more money than Robert Kirkman does.
Bill, you're just counting all of the money that this podcast specifically has given him. He still has bills to pay. Like, he's still got to live his life.
You could just,
is it in direct competition to you, Bill? Are you selling variants?
No, but I should if I had them.
I just saw this this like funny, I think it was a TikTok or something funny where a guy took a piece of paper and a pencil and walked up to this like really huge renowned artist and said, here, gave him a paper, gave him a pencil and goes, draw a stick figure for me. And he presented it like it was going to be a magic trick. And he's like, let me show you something. Draw a stick figure for me. And then the artist drew a stick figure. And then the guy took it and he goes, thanks. And like walked away. And like to be funny. And he put it up and people were trying to buy it for like 10 grand. That's like Otley status right there. That's getting there. He could scribble on a piece of paper and sell that shit for like good money.
Yeah, probably. You'd buy it.
It would be right there in the corner of TJ's wall.
It kind of looks like Rexplode a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you tilt it. Speaking of you buying commissions, TJ, this was our friendly little reminder that less than 50 days till San Diego Comic-Con.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you're listening,
that's going to be a blast. If you are listening. Yeah. So if you are listening to this and you're going to be there, hit us up. We'd love to meet up. Well, man, we've got several days there, and the convention ends, and we don't have too much going on afterwards, as far as we know right now. We'd love to meet up with folks, hang out. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait.
Honestly,
moving on here, I think we have. What's that?
I was just reiterating what you were saying. How much we'd love to meet up with people.
Now, the last major bit of this episode, we have a new segment that we are going to be doing at the end of every episode that I am very excited about. Now, it is not a reread. We know folks want us to do a reread. We did a reread. We've done a new reader. We've revisited this. And here's the trouble with the reread. As much as I would love to, I want to constantly keep rereading this and discussing it. When we do the reread, yes. But when we do the reread as we do it, if we do one issue an episode, we won't get far. Which means we have to do it in volumes. Now, last time we did it in trades, which is 5 or 6 issues. And when we're talking about 5 or 6 issues and we're putting it into a segment on a podcast that's already an hour long, we're kind of like just snapping through that thing. We're just not spending a lot of time on issues and everything like that. So how do we do this? And we talked about it. And I think we found a good compromise, a good way to discuss this, because, again, back to Wyatt joining the show and why we enjoy Wyatt's company so much. When we did the Chroma podcast, the ChromaCast, which you should be going and listening to and reading Chroma because it was an incredible 4-issue series. We had such great conversations issue by issue. Now, we can't recapture that because, like I said, it would take forever to go issue by issue. So what we've decided to do is every episode, one of us will bring an issue to discuss. And it would just be our own little issue spotlight. So Wyatt, as the new member of the podcast, you have the honor of having the first issue spotlight. And I will say that the
We
rules
don't know
are
what it is.
Yeah.
It's a surprise
don't
to
know.
us. It's going to be a surprise to us every week, which means it's just going to be a surprise to you, the listeners, as well. So you tune in every week to see whoever's turn it is, what they're going to pick next. And
this is just a fun way to revisit a single issue, because we talk so much about Invincible in arcs and, paperbacks and collections and everything, that we view these things like the Conquest saga or the Dinosaurus saga. Like, we just want to talk about an issue. So Wyatt's going to be the first one to share, and then every episode, someone else will bring an episode or an issue to share.
Can I guess what issue it is?
Yes.
Is it issue 88?
I was going to say 88.
No, that would be great. That
I was going to guess
all
it.
guess?
That was where I left off.
That's what I would have guessed. We could do like a
guess, Bill.
I have no
So the issue that I picked is issue 141. So kind of close to the end.
Wow.
So, and I'll go through my kind of thinking, but I was trying to think of, the idea of this revisiting single issues. I was trying to think of an issue that's not necessarily one that immediately jumps out at me as like the big ones, right? Like, especially with this arc, with End of All Things, the final issue gets talked about a lot.
But this is a great issue.
Yeah.
I love this issue.
I think I'm doing the math. I'm trying to figure out which
one
this
it
one was.
So in broad strokes, I'll kind of go through.
Does Nolan die?
Yeah. So
this, okay, all right.
That's what I thought.
This is the issue that is
technically,
just after.
Officially.
Yeah, this is the issue that's just after the big fight on the sun with Rag. And it's Mark, coming to and talking to Eve a little bit, and then asking, where's my dad? And it's this long scene of I know. I also, just to preface it, I felt bad because I was like, it's kind of a downer episode. It's a little or a downer issue. Like, it's a heavy issue. But so this issue in particular, I think just in general, has some of Robert Kirkman's best writing. Like, I think it is one of the best written single issues. And so to kind of get back to the broad strokes of the issue, Mark has the long conversation with Nolan where Nolan convinces him, like, you have to lead our people. I'm going to be gone. And Mark kind of refuses that at first. And he's, convincing him to take that position because of what he did for Nolan, how he changed him into a better person. He can change those people. And there's so much of their conversation that is, tons of, sci-fi explanation stuff talking about a Viltrumite empire. If you take those little details out, I feel like that conversation could be any dad talking to his son when he's like knowing that he's going to be gone. And I remember reading this issue outside of my classroom after I was done teaching, like sitting in the car and immediately like getting my phone out and texting my dad afterwards, being like, hey, I know I don't say it enough. I love you. Appreciate you. Just wanted to say it. And like that is the power of this issue and the way that Kirkman writes those scenes, especially because it's all of that. It's, Mark is upset and is like kind of ranting to himself and looking away from Nolan. And it's also credit to how Ottley draws it, because it's the panel of Nolan in the front and Mark is just like several panels almost talking to himself about how he can't take it and it's wrong of him to ask. And if he's good, it's because Nolan raised him that way. And then he turns and sees that he's gone. And it's just so heartbreaking. And that's followed by, it seems like a little bit of time passes, but then it's Mark looking at Tara asleep, thinking about how he's her father and how she's going to one day have to face this, and how, now he's without his dad, who he's always just kind of taken for granted as that presence that's there, facing things before he has to. And it was such a, like, especially, I think when I read that, my son Grayson was 2. And so like, it's such a, especially because Invincible as a series is really about like the father-son relationship. Kirkman has talked about in the past that he really focuses on familial relationships. With Oblivion Song, it was the brothers' relationship.
Literally what I was going to say. Like,
yeah. And
exactly.
Invincible is very much Mark and Nolan's relationship. That's where it starts. And this is the end of that. And it's so beautifully done, the way that it shows Mark as the son in that situation, but then him reflecting as a father of what that means for him. And it was just, like I said, I remember putting the issue down and immediately wanting to call my dad and text him. And it's just I think it's some of Kirkman's best writing, just in terms of relationships and having it feel like really real emotions.
Yeah, you said exactly literally what I was thinking. Like Kirkman does writes everything great, but one thing that he specializes in is relationships. And like you said, like Oblivion Song about brothers, and Outcast, it was about like a father, and it ended up slowly evolving into like a father and his daughter. And it's like, it's always what he's done best. And like you said, Invincible was always about, you know, a father and son. And this issue was kind of ending that relationship. And then the last couple of issues was him kind of becoming what his father, you know, should have been, or like hoped him to be. And like, good issue to start on.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I know it's kind of a bummer issue, but I really like when I think about the issue, the writing that Kirkman has done, it is definitely a standout moment for me that feels like, again, you could take the Invincible stuff out of it and it just feels like this very, you know, very heartfelt, emotional moment between a father and a son, and then that son and his daughter. Like it's beautiful.
I feel like the last like arc, the last even like 25 issues is something that we don't really talk a lot about, I feel, for some reason. Like, I don't know if it's because it's the newest stuff, but the last time I read that, I was, how many years ago did that come out?
2018?
Yeah, it would have been 2018. When it ended,
so 2017?
Yeah, it would have been like late 2017.
I definitely didn't read it on the reread.
22, 23, so 6 years ago. So I was in my 20s. I was 29, roughly, right? And I feel like there's a big difference between your 20s and your 30s, especially when you reach the twilight of your 30s. Like, I'm 36. I'm sure you guys are probably around the same age. And there's this existential dread feeling that kicks in where you know that your time is like your battery's running out, right? Like every day you're at like 70% of your battery life is left. And I remember feeling so sad seeing Nolan, who's always been this like unmovable object, like undefeatable, and his eyes were sunken in, and like seeing him, you're like, maybe he'll pull through, maybe he's gonna live through this, and then once you realize he's not going to, and just that feeling of like, this is the last conversation I'm gonna have with my son. I feel like I wouldn't be able to get through that issue again now, where I am in my life with my son and our relationship. I honest to God do not think, like when you brought it up, I'm feeling new emotions that I didn't feel when I read it, and I'm scared to go back and read it again.
I reread it to prep for this, and I like did it in chunks because it was like you get through a couple of pages and then I would just be like,
and you're right,
like need a minute.
And like kind of what you were saying, Bill, like this, so much of this era we think about being like, you know, the big attack on Thrag or the final issue or the robot attack. Like this one just fits right in there, and it is really, it's just because it's a lull. It's kind of like this calm in the storm. But man, like what you were saying, Wyatt, the first thing I thought of was that moment where Mark is walking, kind of pacing and stuff like that, and he's kind of going on this thing, and he's like ranting and just rambling, and then he turns and he's gone. And that's it. And that moment of just like in an instant, that's it. It's over. Just the mortality of it. And then of course the him having to face that immediately with Tara. You're right, man. That's heavy. That's a lot, but that's an important issue. And, you know, like we've said a dozen times, you know, it's always been about family, and their relationship was at the center of it. So, wow. Great. Yeah. Great issue, man.
I'm very excited to see what somebody picks next time.
Yeah,
don't feel the pressure to make it like a downer next time.
Yeah, I don't know if there's many issues that get much more of a downer than that.
I know.
I'm trying to think. Like, there's a couple. I know one definitely
kicking us off on a
definitely one or two. Yeah, never mind. I take that back.
There's a lot. There's quite a bit.
There's some downers for different reasons.
Yeah, there's some. But yeah, we'll discuss off air what who's next, and then we'll be back next month, or next episode. Should be next month. We're excited to
say, so people are like anticipating who's gonna go. Ryan, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. I've got one.
There was like, oh, thank God. Because
I thought you were going to volunteer, TJ. Since
I will definitely do it.
No, I figured it'd be.
I didn't want to be the one to be like, no, we should say it now. I'm doing it next. You know?
Yeah. But I was going to put it up to chance. I was going to randomize it. But yeah, I mean, I'll go because that's the order that we're going to keep going in then.
Yeah.
And we want to tell everybody about our inside rule. Is that there has to be a gap. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna come back next episode and be like, all right, mine is gonna be 142, or we don't want things to be super close. So we want there to be a little bit of a buffer between issues, so that we're at least talking about different issues. Well, yeah, maybe 10 on either side, because even then, like, every issue stands on its own. Every issue has something special in it. So, I mean, you really can do 140, 142, 143, and 144, all very different issues. But we'll have a little bit of a buffer so that we at least get to talk about different eras of Invincible. But I'm not sure that will be much of a difference. Like, I think this will be fine. This is cool though. I really like this as an option here. Write to us. I want to hear what folks think of that issue. Because that's the thing. We're not announcing the issue that we're picking ahead of time, so you can write in with your thoughts on it. We'll start next episode with some of your thoughts on this 141. 141. Thank you. We said so many. So I want to hear your thoughts on 141, and we'll talk about them at the beginning of next episode. Along with Void Rivals, guys, less than a month, only a couple of weeks before Void Rivals, and then we're going to be talking about that on our next episode.
Hot Ones is coming out. Check that out. And again, hit the subscribe button. Go follow our TikTok. Keep an eye out for our YouTube reels. Things are coming, man.
And don't forget to write in Twitter, TikTok, whatever it is about things that you guys would want to see, because this is an announcement as well. The winner will replace TJ as the third chair.
Mm-hmm. Give us the best.
Yeah.
Then you can unsubscribe.
yeah. And then TJ will start another podcast.
Yeah. And Bill's gonna be like, TJ came over, he broke my other leg. I don't know what happened.
Now I can't walk. So thank you all. Thank you, Wyatt, for everything you do and for joining the show, and welcome. I was just about to say.
It sounded like.
No, I know, but I was about to do the spiel about the music. But do you want to talk about it yourself? Like,
yeah, I was just thinking that too. That you have to find a different way to sign off. But yeah, I mean, I release instrumental music. This was part of the way that we ended up kind of working on the podcast stuff together more, is that you guys wanted music for Oblivion Song podcast. It ended up working out that I just started making music. So yeah, I've got music out there, several albums now. I put out new music on the first Friday of every month. So you can go and follow all my socials and stuff. Will have links to it there.
That's right.
We also end every episode with a song of yours, right? We still do that? Still do that?
He does the outro song.
Yeah. I have the intro
our theme song.
For a while there in the middle, we were doing like randomized ones in mine.
Why? The look on your face was like, TJ, you didn't know that doesn't happen anymore?
No, I was about to say it's happening.
TJ, that was a question that you came up with.
Music.
I'm the one saying we do it.
And you know what? Go watch Invincible Trivia Part 2 again, even if you've already watched it once. That was such a blast. So that video we got to recirculate that video, because that was a blast.
If you ever have any doubts of Wyatt's credentials for being on the show, the dude knows more than I do. So
that's true. That's true.
Invincible Trivia Part 2. Part 1 is out there too, but check out Part 2.
That's right. So. Exciting stuff. Next time we do an episode like this, we will be really close to San Diego Comic-Con, and man, the rest of 23, it's gonna be some good stuff. So we look forward to it. Thank you all for watching, listening. We'll see you around.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bill, peace out. We'll talk later.
What are you guys going to talk about?
Oh, man. Just you wait.
The hallway. In the middle of the episode, my hallway light is on and my kitchen light is off.
Yeah, so I was going to say your lighting changed, dude.
Like,
it does feel darker.
Well, I don't know about that, but maybe, but that's not what I'm saying. The hallway light, I can see like shining into the dark kitchen, and in the middle of the episode, the light flickered, but in a way that someone like walked in front of the light. So if I die tonight, And like people are like, oh,
Is that
like
why you in the middle of that? I saw you do this.
That be
where you're like,
100%. That's why.
Okay.
100 because I'm like waiting
we
for a
got
demon to like peek around my TV and like, oh.
Well, we've done the show with 3 people for so long, we'll be fine.